Yo, what's up? Doctor back again. We're going to do some conduit lessons now. Not plastic variety, steel. It's a great skill within itself. It doesn't get used a lot on building sites these days, though there are some people who come through this college and they do a lot of conduit, so the lesson's valid anyway. It will come in handy somewhere along the line. So the first thing you need to know is when you're going to do a conduit job, you've got to string the room out. What I mean by string it out, you string it out with a chalk and line. Okay? And then what you do is you fix all the saddles. You always fix all the saddles, and then you make the conduit fit the saddles. That's the magic part, and it always looks dead straight. Okay? Especially down places like corridors. If you don't string it out and you just rely on screwing the conduit together, you'll end up with it dog-legging down the corridor, and it'll look terrible. So always string it out, fit the saddles, make the conduit fit the saddles. Okay? So the next thing you need to know is there's 3 magic measurements in the world of conduit. Okay? 6mm, 16mm, and 1.5 inches. This is for 20mm conduit. This is the most popular conduit. First one, 6mm. 6mm is the depth of a saddle. So if you were going to be running a conduit along the wall and it was going to turn around the wall, okay, you've got to knock 6mm off the back of the bend. That way it sits in the saddles nice and sweet. It's an important measurement. Okay, it's not a lot, but it makes the difference. Second measurement, 16mm. 16mm is the length of the thread. The reason for that, a coupling is 32mm, so a thread is half coupling. Okay? And the last one is 1.5 inches. And 1.5 inches, so let me draw this. The thread. It's not a very good box. It's a sort of a section through a box. Something like that. Okay. 1.5 inches. Remember, conduit boxes are still imperial. They never changed the actual size of the box from when we went metric 40 years ago. 1.5 inches is the distance from the centre of a conduit box to the end of the thread. And where does that come in handy? That comes in handy for stuff like this. If you're putting fluorescent lights up in a corridor, in a stool like this for instance, right, it's quite normal for you to fit it on conduit boxes. And there's a conduit box there, and there's a conduit box there. So what you would do is if you were fitting this fitting down the corridor, you'd measure centre to centre. In other words, say from that line there, that circle there, that hole there, to the matching hole down there. The standard measurement centre to centre is about 600mm. Alright, so we'll do that on the board down here. You've got a conduit box like so. And you need the centres of the box 600mm apart exactly. The way that you do it is you'd measure a piece of conduit 600mm and you'd knock off 3 inches because you've got to knock off 1.5 inches at this end, and you've also got to knock off 1.5 inches at that end. So you cut the tube 600, knock off 3 inches, cut and thread it. When you fit the boxes, the fitting will fit exactly straight onto the fittings. That's that part done. We're not doing this today, I'm just showing you that for completeness. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a corridor. Give me a little bit of a corridor. Alright, big corridor. And it's got a glass ceiling so I can look down from up above. I've got a conduit coming down the middle of the room, down the middle of this room, so I'm going to string a line with a chalk line right down the corridor. Okay? And I'm going to chalk line across the ceiling and then chalk line down the wall, because the conduit's going to come off this T-box. There's going to go a T-box there. It's going to go across and it's going to go down the wall. There, I'll even put the saddles in now. Right, so conduit across the ceiling, and then into the board, down the wall. Okay, so I'm going to make a measurement up. I'm going to make a measurement from the string line to the wall. I'm going to make it 1000 millilitres. So to work out this piece of conduit that's going to screw in here and go down the wall, what you do is you bend it and you make it from the back of the bend to the end of the thread. You'd make it 1000 minus 6 equals 994. That's to allow for the 6 that you lose at the wall. Okay, I've also got to lose 1.5 inches from the centre of the box to the end of the thread. So the actual measurement of the tube would be 994 millimetres minus 1.5 inches. Bend it, thread it, and it'll screw in. Okay. Final part of it now. Let's imagine, let's just do something slightly different. Let's pretend that you were on the sick. And while you were on the sick, the electricians came along and they fitted the conduit. They actually fitted the conduit and the box. Like so, right? But they didn't fit the piece of tube that goes across down to the light switch. Okay? Now you can't measure off the dotted line because the dotted line is covered by the conduit. The only bit you can get to now is the actual box. So what I'm going to do here now, I'm going to take a measurement of the spout of the box to the wall. Now, I'm not very good at maths, so again I'm just going to make up a measurement. I'm going to call it a straight 1000. Alright? It's 1000 millilitres from the spout to the wall. So this time what I'd do is, I'd have to go 1000. This time I'd have to add 16 to allow for the tube to go into the spout of the box. I'd also have to knock off 6 where it goes down the wall. So the full measurement would be 1000 plus 10. You get a piece of conduit, 1010. Cut it, thread it, screw straight in, clink, and it goes. Done.